Mexican drug king Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, convicted on all counts.
He was a killer. He was a murderer. He was a manipulator. But he was also very, very, very smart.
Victor Boot, in my eyes, is one of the most dangerous men on the face of the earth.
The Central Intelligence Agency is known as the world's most powerful spy agency, where secrecy and power go hand in hand. The Central Intelligence Agency has always been a force to be reckoned with, and there are certain individuals whom even this top-tier intelligence agency is afraid of. Join us as we have a look at the top 10 people who the CIA fears the most. Number 1. Victor Bout. Victor Bout is a notorious Russian arms dealer who gained international notoriety for his involvement in illegal arms trafficking. Born in 1967 in the Soviet Union, Bout began his career in the military, serving as an officer in the Soviet Air Force. He's an ethnic Ukrainian who became a Russian citizen after the dissolution of the Soviet Union. However, he soon turned to the lucrative business of arms trafficking, using his knowledge of aircraft and logistics to transport weapons to various hotspots around the world. Bout's actions soon caught the attention of various intelligence agencies, including the CIA, who began to investigate his activities in the late 1990s. He was eventually arrested in Thailand in 2008, where he was trying to sell weapons to undercover United States agents. After a lengthy legal battle, he was then extradited to the United States in 2010 and was convicted on charges of conspiracy to take the lives of U.S. citizens, conspiracy to give financial or material assistance to a designated foreign terrorist organization, and conspiracy to acquire and export anti-aircraft missiles. One of the reasons why the CIA feared Bout was his ability to provide weapons to various terrorist organizations and rogue states around the world. He was known to have close ties to the Taliban in Afghanistan and the Revolutionary United Front in Sierra Leone, amongst others. He was also believed to have provided weapons to the government of Liberia during its civil war in the late 1990s. His vast network and ability to move weapons across international borders made him a valuable asset to all of those groups, and his capture was seen as a significant blow to their operations. However, it also highlighted the continued problem of illegal arms trafficking around the world and the need for increased efforts to combat it. Despite his capture and conviction, Bout remains a controversial figure, with some believing that he was unfairly targeted by the United States authorities. His case also raised questions about the legality of undercover operations and the extent to which United States law enforcement agencies can operate outside of their own borders. Bout would be given a 25-year prison sentence in the United States in 2012, but still, President Joe Biden decided to exchange the Russian arms dealer for Griner, a United States basketball player who had been arrested in Russia for bringing in cannabis. This decision reignited concerns about Bout's past actions and future endeavors. He had served almost 10 years in prison when finally being released. Number 2. Evgeny Prigozhin. Evgeny Prigozhin, aka the head of Wagner, is a name that is enough to send shivers down anyone's spine. This Russian businessman is more commonly known as Putin's chef, thanks to his catering business that supplies food to the Kremlin. But Prigozhin is more than just a chef. He's also the mastermind behind Wagner, a private military contractor that's notorious for carrying out covert operations in several countries. His background is a mystery that's wrapped in an enigma. Born in the Soviet Union in 1961, he's been associated with organized crime since the 1990s. He was even convicted of fraud in 2006, but his links to the Russian government have helped him to continue his criminal activities. Prigozhin has been involved in conflicts in Syria, the Ukraine, and Central African Republic. The group is infamous for its savage tactics and has been committing war crimes such as torture and taking innocent people's lives. Wagner has also been involved in cyber attacks and disinformation campaigns, which aim to destabilize governments and undermine democracies. The CIA has long been worried about Prigozhin and Wagner's power and influence. The group's activities have been traced back to the Russian government, and many believe that he is Putin's pawn. Wagner's actions have been used to promote Russian interests, often at the cost of United States interests, and the CIA fears Prigozhin because of his vast wealth and connections to the Russian government. His wealth has enabled him to fund Wagner and other shadowy operations. His links to shell companies and other financial instruments have made it tough to track his financial activities. Another reason for the CIA's apprehension is Prigozhin's inclination to use extreme violence in order to achieve his goals. Wagner has been blamed for assassinations, torture, and other gruesome tactics that have all flouted human rights. The use of such brutality is deeply disconcerting to intelligence agencies and governments worldwide. Despite the CIA's fears, it's not given up. It's been working to disrupt Prigozhin and Wagner's activities all throughout various means, which include cyber attacks and other covert operations. It remains a mystery as to how effective these efforts will be in containing the notorious head of Wagner. Number 3. Joaquin Guzman. Joaquin El Chapo Guzman is a name that strikes fear into the hearts of many due to his notorious reputation as one of the world's most ruthless drug lords. Born in 1957 in Sinaloa, Mexico, Guzman began his criminal career in the late 1970s when he joined the Guadalajara cartel that was led by Miguel Angel Felix Gallardo. After the dismantling of the cartel in the mid-1980s, he then founded his own organization, the Sinaloa Cartel, which became one of the most powerful and successful narcotics trafficking organizations in history. His cartel, under Guzman's leadership, smuggled enormous quantities of narcotics, such as methamphetamines, into the United States and other countries. Guzman was known for his violent tactics, which included torture and assassination, to eliminate his rivals and maintain control over his territory. He was also infamous for his ability to escape from prison, having done so twice in both 2001 and 2015, using tunnels that were dug by his associates. The CIA has long been concerned about the power and influence of drug lords like Guzman. The narcotics trade is a major source of revenue for criminal organizations, and the vast sums of money involved can be used to fund other illegal activities, such as terrorism, for example. Additionally, the corruption and violence that often accompanies the narcotics trade can destabilize entire regions and also threaten the security of nations. Guzman's vast network of corrupt officials, lawyers, and other operatives have made him a master at evading law enforcement and protecting his own interests, while also earning him a reputation as a master of evasion. Despite numerous attempts to bring him to justice, he has managed to evade capture for many years. However, in 2016, he would be arrested after a massive manhunt involving the Mexican military, the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, and other law enforcement agencies. After being extradited to the United States, he then faced charges of many crimes, which included narcotics trafficking and money laundering, ultimately resulting in a life sentence without any chance of parole in July of 2019. El Chapo's life and career has been the subject of numerous books, documentaries, and films that all portray him as a ruthless but charismatic figure who rose from humble beginnings to becoming one of the most strong and feared drug lords in the world. Despite his capture and conviction, though, he does remain a powerful symbol of Mexico's drug wars and the challenges of combating drug trafficking and organized drug syndicates. While he's currently imprisoned in Texas, the CIA fears that he may escape again due to his past history of evading prison time. Number 4. Dawood Ibrahim. Dawood Ibrahim is an infamous Indian criminal, mastermind, and head of the criminal syndicate D Company. He would be born in Mumbai in 1955 to a Muslim family and initially began as a low-level criminal. His father was the head constable of the Mumbai police, and his mother was a homemaker. He climbed the ranks and then became one of the most dominant and intimidating underworld figures on a global scale. He's been charged with multiple criminal offenses, which includes narcotics trafficking, extortion, money laundering, and terrorism. He was designated a global terrorist by the United States and India in 2003, and there's a reward of $25 million on his head. In 2011, he would be named number 3 in the world's 10 most wanted fugitives by the United States Federal Bureau of Investigation. His rise to power began in the 1980s when he started to work with the Karachi-based criminal syndicate, which later became known as D Company, and it's reported that the syndicate has over 5,000 members. The group's main source of revenue comes from its illegal activities, like smuggling, narcotics trafficking, and extortion. The organization has been linked to numerous acts of violence, including bombings and assassinations, both in India and abroad. It's not only his criminal activities that have made him such a feared person, though. He's a man of many talents. He has a skilled business acumen with interests in real estate, hotels, and even Bollywood, and he's also a philanthropist with a network of charities and foundations that he uses to impress many people and win over their hearts. So, what is the CIA afraid of when it comes to him? Well, for one, he has friends in high places. He's rumored to have close ties to the Pakistani government, and some even say that he's protected by the country's intelligence agency, the ISI. This means that he's able to operate with impunity, and that any attempt to capture him would likely result in a diplomatic incident. The group is also believed to have close ties with terrorist organizations like Al-Qaeda, but that's not all. He's also a master of disguise. He's been known to change his appearance on a frequent basis, making it almost impossible for the authorities to track him down. He's not afraid to use violence to get what he wants, and has been linked to numerous bombings and assassinations, which includes the 1993 Mumbai bombings that took the lives of more than 250 people. So, what is he up to these days, you may ask? Well, nobody really knows for sure. He is believed to be living in Pakistan, but his exact whereabouts are unknown. Some say that he's still running his criminal enterprise from afar, while others believe that he's retired and is living the life of luxury. The Indian government, with the support of the CIA, continues to make efforts to bring him to justice and dismantle his criminal empire. Number 5. Omid Tavili. Omid Tavili, also known as Nino, is a notorious international drug lord and money launderer who was born in Iran in 1973. His family then moved to Canada when he was young, and he later became a Canadian citizen. He eventually moved to Dubai, where he then established a vast criminal network involved in a drug trafficking and money laundering scheme. Those schemes date back to the 1990s, when he would become involved in smuggling hashish, which is a drug from Pakistan, to Canada. He later expanded his criminal enterprise to include the trafficking of other high-in-demand narcotics, and his network eventually spanned the globe, having connections in Canada, America, Europe, and the Middle East. His organization would become known for its brutal tactics, which included violence and intimidation, in order to protect its operations and eliminate the competition. In addition to narcotics trafficking, he would be involved in money laundering, using sophisticated methods to hide the proceeds of his criminal activities. His money laundering operations involved the use of shell companies, offshore bank accounts, and other financial instruments to conceal the source of his wealth. The CIA and other intelligence agencies from around the world have been tracking his activities for many years. The American government has offered a reward of $5 million for information that leads to his arrest and conviction. The CIA, in particular, is concerned about his connections to terrorist organizations, which he allegedly used to protect his narcotics trafficking and money laundering operations. He was arrested in 2011 in Prague, Czech Republic, where he was living under a false identity. He would be extradited to America, where he then faced charges of narcotics trafficking, money laundering, and providing material support to a terrorist organization. He would plead guilty to those charges and was sentenced to 135 months in prison. He would then be taken into custody in 2005, but managed to evade his trial by bribing a security guard and escaping from prison. He now remains on the run and is wanted by authorities worldwide. The CIA views him as a significant threat to international security, given all of his connections to terrorist organizations and his involvement in trafficking and money laundering. The agency fears that he may well have criminal activities that could be used to finance terrorist operations, and that his network could be used to transport weapons or other illicit materials across many borders. Number 6. Joseph Kony. Joseph Kony is the infamous leader of the Lord's Resistance Army, a militant group that operates in Uganda, South Sudan, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and the Central African Republic. Born in 1961, Kony claimed to be the spirit medium and prophet, using this to gain power and influence over his followers. Kony's background is murky. He's believed to have grown up in the Gulu district of Uganda and was involved in the Holy Spirit movement, a rebel group that opposed the Ugandan government. Kony broke away from that group in the late 1980s and then formed the LRA. The LRA would become responsible for a range of crimes, which includes the abduction of teenagers who were forced to serve as soldiers and slaves. The LRA's brutal tactics would lead to the displacement of millions of innocent people, creating a serious humanitarian crisis within the region. The CIA and other intelligence agencies have long been concerned about Kony and the LRA. The group was known for its use of child soldiers, and its activities posed a threat to the stability of the region. The United States government has provided support to the Ugandan military in their efforts to capture Kony, and the State Department offered a bounty of up to $5 million for information that leads to his arrest. In 2012, a viral video campaign called Kony 2012 drew global attention to the crimes of Kony and the LRA. The video, produced by an American nonprofit organization called Invisible Children, aimed to raise awareness about Kony and encourage governments to take action against him. While the campaign was controversial and criticized for oversimplifying the conflict, it did bring attention to the issue and helped to put pressures on governments to take action. Kony's whereabouts remain unknown. He is believed to be hiding in the Central African Republic or Sudan, and the LRA has largely been disbanded. While the organization is no longer active, the impact of its crimes continues to be felt in the region. Kony remains one of the most wanted individuals by the CIA and other intelligence agencies, and efforts to capture him continue to this day. Number 7. Simeon Mogilevich. Simeon Mogilevich is a Ukrainian-born criminal and one of the most notorious figures in the international underworld. He's said to be one of the most dangerous and influential organized crime bosses in the world, and the CIA has long been concerned about his activities. The agency has even offered a bounty of up to $5 million for any information that leads to his arrest. He was born in Kiev, Ukraine in 1946, and his family would later move to Moscow. He grew up in a Jewish family and was a gifted student, but then turned to a life of crime at a very early age. In the 1970s, he became involved in the black market trade of goods such as electronics and cigarettes, and quickly rose through the ranks of organized crime. Mogilevich's criminal empire would soon expand to include arms trafficking, money laundering, and extortion. He then established a network of criminal enterprises all throughout Europe, Asia, and the Americas, becoming known for his brutal ways and his ability to evade law enforcement. One of Mogilevich's most infamous crimes was his involvement in the collapse of the Russian oil company Yukos in the early 2000s. He's said to have been one of the masterminds behind the scheme to siphon off billions of dollars from the company and reportedly use the funds to finance his criminal activities. Mogilevich has been linked to a number of other high-profile criminal activities, which includes the trafficking of nuclear materials and the sale of stolen artwork. He's been indicted in the United States on a number of charges, which includes racketeering and conspiracy to commit wire fraud, but so far has managed to evade capture. The CIA fears Mogilevich because of his vast criminal empire and his ability to evade law enforcement. He's been known to use his wealth and influence to bribe officials and law enforcement officers, and he's been linked to corrupt politicians and businessmen around the world. His network of criminal enterprises is believed to be involved in everything from arms trafficking to human trafficking, and he's known to have connections to some of the most dangerous organized crime groups in the world. Despite the efforts of law enforcement agencies in America, Mogilevich still remains at large. The CIA continues to offer a reward for any information that leads to his arrest, and he remains one of the agency's most wanted fugitives. Number 8. Evgeny Bogachev. Evgeny Bogachev is the reason why the world is focusing on cybersecurity. He's a Russian cybercriminal who has been accused of being the mastermind behind one of the most dangerous botnets in history, Game Over Zeus. This botnet would be responsible for stealing millions of dollars from individuals and businesses from around the world. Bogachev was born in 1983 in Russia and began his criminal career in the early 2000s by creating malware that would infect computers and steal personal information. Later, he would be involved in the development of Game Over Zeus botnet, which was made to steal victims' banking credentials and other sensitive information. The Game Over Zeus botnet was so dangerous because it was designed to be highly resilient and difficult to take down. It used a sophisticated peer-to-peer architecture that made it nearly impossible to shut down using traditional methods, and this would allow the botnet to operate for many years, stealing millions of dollars from victims around the world. Bogachev's criminal activities have made him one of the most wanted cyber criminals in the world. He's been indicted in the United States and is wanted for a variety of crimes, including conspiracy, computer fraud, and money laundering. America currently offers a reward of $3 million for information that leads to his arrest. The CIA and other intelligence agencies around the world are deeply concerned about the threat that's posed by him and his botnet. The Game Over Zeus botnet was used to steal sensitive information from individuals and businesses around the world, which included banking credentials of high-level officials in government and industry. The information stolen by the botnet could then be used to carry out espionage, sabotage, and other nefarious activities. One of the reasons that the CIA fears him is his technical expertise. He's an incredibly skilled hacker who has been able to create sophisticated malware and botnets that are difficult to detect and shut down. He's also been known to use advanced encryption and other techniques to protect his activities from being detected. Another reason the CIA fears Bogachev is his connections to the Russian government. He's been linked to Russian intelligence agencies and is believed to be operating within their direction. This has raised many concerns that his activities could be used to carry out state-sponsored cyber attacks against the United States and other countries. Number 9. Alamzhan Tokhtakanov. Alamzhan Tokhtakanov, also known as the Little Taiwanese, is a notorious Russian criminal who's been involved in various illegal activities, including racketeering, money laundering, and illegal gambling. Born in 1949 in Uzbekistan, he then moved to Moscow in the 1980s and quickly established himself as a powerful figure within the criminal underworld. He's known for his connections to the Russian government and his ability to bribe officials to look the other way. His activities would soon catch the attention of the CIA and other intelligence agencies, who began to monitor his every move. One of the most infamous actions attributed to him would be the alleged involvement in fixing the pair's figure skating competition at the 2002 Winter Olympics in Salt Lake City. He was accused of bribing the judges to ensure that the Russian pair would win the gold medal. The scandal rocked the world of figure skating and led to an international arrest warrant being issued. The CIA and other intelligence agencies have long been concerned about the power and influence that he holds, and he's said to be one of the most powerful members of the Russian mafia, having connections to some of the most dangerous criminal organizations in the world. He's been linked with various illegal activities, which includes narcotics trafficking and human trafficking, and is known for his ruthless tactics. One of the reasons the CIA fears him is his ability to evade capture. Despite being the subject of an international arrest warrant and manhunt, he's managed to stay one step ahead of the authorities at all times. It's believed that he has multiple passports, and he moves frequently between different countries, making it difficult for law enforcement agencies to track him down. The United States government has offered a bounty of up to $4 million for any information in regards to his whereabouts. The reward was announced after the figure skating scandal, but he is yet to be apprehended. The United States authorities have urged anyone with information on his whereabouts to come forward and help to bring him to justice. It's reported that it is possible he is still in hiding, possibly in Russia or other countries where he may have connections and resources that can help him to evade capture. Number 10. Alexis Flores. Alexis Flores is a Honduran national who is currently on the list of the most wanted fugitives. He's wanted for the kidnapping and taking of life of a young girl in Philadelphia in 2000. He was born in Honduras in 1975 and grew up in a poverty-stricken family. As a young man, he made his way to the United States of America and then settled in New York City. He was known to have a history of criminal behavior that included burglary, theft, and assault. He was arrested and deported back to Honduras in 1999, but then managed to re-enter the United States illegally shortly afterwards. In 2000, he would be living in Philadelphia when he abducted a girl from her bedroom in the middle of the night. Her body was then found several days later in a nearby apartment building where Flores had been staying. She had been strangled, and Flores fled the area shortly afterwards, remaining at large for several years. In 2007, he would be arrested in Arizona on some unrelated charges, but later released due to lack of evidence. He would eventually be added to the most wanted fugitives list in 2007, and a reward of up to $100,000 would be offered for information that led to his arrest. The CIA is also interested in Flores because of his possible links to human trafficking and narcotic smuggling. The FBI believes that Flores may have ties to a criminal organization that's involved in these activities, and that he may be involved in the smuggling of people and illegal substances across the United States and Mexico border. Flores is still at large and is believed to be living in Honduras or elsewhere within Central America. The FBI and CIA continue to actively search for him, and the reward for his capture remains in effect. Flores serves as a sorrowful indication of how violent offenses can cause severe harm to uninvolved victims and their loved ones, and also emphasizes the significance of international collaboration in combating transnational crime, particularly in the areas of human trafficking and smuggling. The efforts of law enforcement agencies are ongoing to arrest fugitives like Flores and prevent any further harm to communities and individuals.